Hey, real quick, how many of us know the difference between misunderstandings in a relationship, regular relationship conflict, and when there's danger in a relationship? I'm using somatic psych theory to help people learn and map out their autonomic nervous system, develop a healthier relationship with themselves, and eventually build stronger community. Let's go back to the social engagement center that I talked about a little bit in the video on the ventral vagus. Our ventral vagus creates a link connecting our brainstem, our heart, the muscles in our faces that control facial expressions, the muscles in our middle ear that help us listen, the muscles in our larynx, our voice box that helps us speak, all to form our social engagement system. That system is in charge of helping us connect with others, using our facial expressions, our tone of voice, the patterns in how we speak, and our body language in order to send and receive signs of safety between one person's nervous system and another person's nervous system. So when we feel safe, our ventral vagus is engaged, which means our social engagement system is engaged. And that also means our prefrontal cortex is turned on, so our critical thinking and our ability to reason and plan and connect with others, all of that is turned on when our ventral vagus is engaged. When our nervous system senses danger in the environment, our prefrontal cortex turns off, our ventral vagus is no longer engaged, and that means that our ability to connect with others, to relax, to solve problems, to be intimate, to make plans, all of these things are put on pause and or are really, really, really hard to do until our body feels safe again. Whenever our nervous system is dysregulated, whenever we're stressed, we fall out of connection with our own nervous system and also the nervous systems of the people around us. And so when the nervous systems of two or more people fall out of connection and their nervous system interprets this disconnection as a danger or even as like a former trauma coming back around, that reaction that the nervous system has is called biological rudeness. Even though biological rudeness can feel like a danger and feel like a trauma, to the nervous system, it is objectively not a danger. Our autonomic nervous system has a very one-size-fits-all approach to anything that it perceives as danger. Your body just wants to keep you safe, and it will go above and beyond what it needs to do to keep you safe. One major reason why your nervous system might respond to misunderstandings and small relationship conflicts as like a major big deal is due to the sensitivity of your nervous system and specifically your vagus nerve. Like I've said before, things like chronic and complex traumas and viral infections like COVID can damage the vagus nerve over time. And that damage has an impact on people's ability to tolerate stress and the vagus nerve's ability to activate and deactivate in response to a stressful situation. If your vagus nerve is having a hard time reactivating after a stressful event, then you are constantly going to be experiencing a level of stress all the time. And if you are constantly stressed all the time, then your body is going to over time become very sensitive to any additional stress. Each new bit of stress then starts to feel like a once in a lifetime natural disaster level of crisis. And once that happens, your nervous system is going to respond in kind, because why not? If your body fully truly believes that you are in danger, it's either going to give you a really big fight or flight response to get you out of there, or it's gonna shut down as quickly as possible because your body is just tired. And after fighting for years or running for years and years and years, at a certain point, your body is just going to be too exhausted and will choose some level of shutdown, which is freeze, fawn, or a full shutdown in order to protect you from the high level of stress that your body is experiencing all the time. So the more experience you have with crises and conflicts that don't end in a way that makes you feel safe, the more experience you have with traumas, both acute and chronic, the more your nervous system becomes primed to protect you by any means, even if that means going right into shutdown or staying in a fight-flight response all the time. So remember, your amygdala is organizing your memories and your emotions into little time capsules. And your trauma is kind of being filed in one area, and your non-traumatic memories are being filed in a different area. Your amygdala likes to organize your traumas by association. You'll notice that you might get triggered by a recent event that is kind of abandonment-esque, kind of related to abandonment in maybe a small way. And then it might trigger older memories and older feelings of the last times you felt similar. So you'll be thinking about, your friend forgot to text you about going with you to the event. And then it might make you remember a time from childhood and you're like, whoa, how did I get there? It's literally because your amygdala is organizing your trauma according to association. And each of those trauma time capsules that are organized by association has inside of it not just the physical sensations that your nervous system was feeling at that time, but also has the emotions you were feeling at that time, the thoughts you thought at that time, any sensory experiences you might be feeling at that time. That's all being packaged up in your little time capsule and being stored off, right? And if this wasn't trauma, then it would be things like the smell of a certain meal reminds you of your grandmother's house or something, right? That's when it can feel pleasant. But it can also feel like you and your friend having a misunderstanding about something, and then all of a sudden you feel the way you felt at 16 when an adult did XYZ, and now you find yourself either acting in ways that are not at all how you would act right now, right? With your current wisdoms and understandings. When you're clear-headed, you wouldn't act like this. But the moment that that trauma time capsule is opened and all these emotions of the past you and all the thoughts of the past you start to come up, you find yourself saying things and acting in certain ways. You're like, whoa, where is this coming from? And it's the outdated information from that trauma time capsule and that rigid thinking, right? It's always like this, or I'm always like that. I always do this. People will always do that. And so if you don't have the tools and the relationship with your nervous system to recognize what's going on and to then regulate your nervous system, you could be stuck using old information from that trauma time capsule and making choices and decisions with outdated and not very useful information, because that old information was helpful back then, but this is 2025. And so your autonomic nervous system might make a miscalculation because it's not using all of the non-trauma information that the amygdala has stored over there. Your trauma time capsule and your non-trauma information has not been fused. And those miscalculations lead to patterns of behavior or coping skills that maybe used to be helpful, but are definitely not all that helpful now. However, just because trauma changed your nervous system in the past does not mean that trauma has to have the last word. Yes, trauma affects our ability to manage stress. Yes, trauma affects our ability to show up in our personal relationships. However, moments of connection with ourselves and with other people, moments of collaboration with our nervous system and with other people, mediation and relationship repair can also change us and our bodies over time, just like trauma can. Your nervous system can update its trauma time capsule and can fuse it with its other information so you can then change up how you've been doing stuff. And as a quick aside, romantic relationships are not the only place where you can build collaboration and mediation skills and repair skills. You can find healing in your other community relationships. How do I know? Because therapy wouldn't work without it. Ideally, the therapeutic relationship should be a lower stakes opportunity to practice being in a healthy relationship and practicing the tools of being in a healthy relationship at your own pace over time. The therapeutic relationship should be a great place to practice navigating biological rudeness with someone that you can trust so you can practice attending to yourself, managing your emotions, and practice resolving conflict. If this video was helpful or interesting to you in any way, please consider joining my private practice's $3 Patreon or by directly sponsoring someone you know for my donation-based free private practice where I provide free somatic trauma therapy for low-income Black people. Thank you so much.